Hi everybody, this is Will Bowen with today's JumpStart. Today I want to talk about two traffic accidents that happened recently in my family. And I'm sure you can relate to one or both of them. And it has actually been rather amazing how the two have framed so many things in my life and in my awareness and in my appreciation. So the first accident happened to my daughter Leah. She was actually helping me pack up a bunch of stuff. We were putting it into two vehicles and driving it over to her home, the store, before I moved down here to Key Largo. It was starting to rain. The road was slippery. It was actually starting to snow. As she merged from I-29 South in Kansas City onto 169, and someone was in the lane and decided to hit their horn, and when they did, Leah overcorrected, and it scared her, and she overcorrected and went across two lanes of traffic, and she was going to head into the other lane head first. Just head on. But instead, there are these wires there that are designed to, if a car is headed that way, it literally picks the car up and flips it on its side. Better to have that happen than to have her get injured or killed. So she flipped. I came around the corner and there she was, and standing on the side of the road waving me down. Luckily, there was a police officer on the scene. And not a police officer rather, but a retired police officer was the person who pulled up. He saw this happen and he jumped up, broke out the window, pulled her out because it looked like the car was going to catch fire or explode, which it did not. And in that moment, I realized that nothing mattered that was in that car. Nothing mattered in my bank account. Nothing mattered in my future or my body. All that mattered was that she was going to be okay. So that was one accident. And then about 4 days ago, my nephew was in an accident. Very different outcome. He was thrown out of the car. My guess is he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Leah was. And she was saved by her airbags exploded. Anyway, he was thrown out of the car. Don't know exactly how fast he was going. And he is now looks like he's going to be a C2 complete, just like Christopher Reeve. He's going to be paraplegic or completely paralyzed below the neck for the rest of his life, won't even be able to breathe on his own. The funny thing is that as grateful as I am, and as for Leah, and as sad as I am for Dalton is his name, I really don't see a place where God played favorites in this. Now, I say that because my nephew was struggling and was probably headed towards something as bad or worse than what happened worse. However, he's been given another chance. And I think that this accident for him could in many ways be as much of a blessing for him as the accident that happened for Leah, wherein she was okay. You know, every soul is on their path, and it is the soul's nature to gravitate towards health and healing. And someone pointed out to me that healing doesn't always mean recovery. So it doesn't necessarily mean that his body will recover, but it can very well mean that his soul and his spirit can heal. And that's what we're hoping for. So as you look at the world today, it gets so easy to go. And by the way, if you turn on the news, you're only going to see the bad story. You wouldn't have seen Leah's story on the news because it had a good ending. But you'd see his. So when you see those, could you consider the fact that God is as present in the bad as in the good? That the miracle can happen in the sad occurrence every bit as well as in the pleasant and what seems to be the ideal one? Just consider that. Right here on my wall, I have a sign that says, Vocatus atque non vocatus Deus adoret. Carl Jung actually had it on the mantle above his door, and it stands for, or rather means, it's Latin, it means bidden or unbidden. God is always present. Whether you ask for God in the situation or not, God is in the situation. So God is in my nephew's situation equally as in Leah's. And the same is true for you. So easy to look at ourselves and say, oh, I'm cursed because, It's been difficult for me going through this divorce. And sometimes I get really sad. And at the same time, I have to realize God is in this situation. Our relationship is simply complete. And that's that. So don't fall victim to yourself and to considering yourself to be cursed. Consider the fact that no matter what, you're blessed. And in so, you'll find the blessing. And listen, this video may mean something for someone, so pass it on to them if you feel so. And leave your questions and comments below because I'll respond. Enjoy today, and we'll talk tomorrow. Bye-bye.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high.